Alright, so let's talk about new units again. This time it's about fates, and frankly, if I'd say, like, okay, so a few people have been asking me why did I not make my first impression on the banner. It's because initially I did not have a really good opinion about most of them. I was like, Shigure is most likely going to be underwhelming. Inoka will be good, but probably will suffer by like the every freaking long-range colorless damage dealing units bulk spread, and sure enough she did. And Kana was like, that's like the fourth dragon in a row we've got. So you get the idea. But now that they're out, let's actually give some concrete information instead and move on from there. Let's start with Kana. That's actually the least obvious one of the bunch. If you compare her with Faye, which is really the only other Infantry Dragon that you can really compare to her, she is faster, and that's a thing about the two Kanas. I'm going to talk about Kana Mel later in the video, because I'm gonna start with the banner unit and then the GHB unit and then the most likely Tempest Trial unit in Kaze, and move from there. So I also did a kind of comparison graph like this for every character. I felt like it was more appropriate, and honestly, from the last video I made, the one I did with Trachea, most people were actually finding this to be better, and also better on the eye. So I figured this would be a bit more simpler. Okay, so let's talk about Kana herself instead of talking about the layout instead. She's not bad, but first off, her HP is a bit low, so unlike Faye, we can use Panic Ploy, she can't really do that well. Her bulk is more or less the same but reversed, but slightly better. The main thing though is that most of those dragons want a breath skill. At least those that are not Mer, Grima F, and I think that's basically it, because those two cannot use breath skills, they're flying. So in Kana's case, you will need to get Warding Breath to kind of make up for the difference in res, since you want them to be like double bulk. You don't really want them to have like just bulk to deal with one thing. That tends to be kind of pointless for dragons. You tend to just really want to have both stats around the same. And it's not because of breath or whatever, it's better that way. You can deal with more things. You can deal with dragons, and you can deal with like non-dragons, like armored unit. So the fact that you need Warding Breath, whereas Faye needs Steady Breath, really hinders you, because Warding Breath is not nearly as easy to obtain, as it's on the legendary banner and you always have to compete with 2 more characters. Steady Breath is always in the pool, unlike Warding Breath. And also, like, IS seems to have a fetish to put Brave Ike on a banner. I don't know if I'm the only one that realized that, but they keep doing that. I don't know, that's just me. So Faye is a bit easier to build, but Kana is overall better when it comes down to stats. Though Kana builds on speed, which is not that ideal. Faye has like a throwaway speed stat, and as a result she has more HP, more speed, more res than Kana. So you get the idea. The thing is, you can use Kana as a speedster, kind of, but that's more like if you're able to merge her a lot. And that's the same problem Grima has. Like, in my video about Grima, I said Grima was kind of underwhelming, but after looking back at it, I was like, her stats are extremely balanced. And if you manage to get her to +10, God knows how much money you would have spent, but if you get her to +10, she can be absolutely scary, and that was absolutely true because I used the +10 Grima in Rival's Domain from one of my friends called BR, and it's actually ridiculously strong, especially with Vantage Aether. You just kill so much stuff with it, and you're hard to take down. But it's still that you need to have like a bunch of merge, and Kana suffers from the same thing. Her kit is also not really useful to her. Water Breath is cool and all, but you'll probably change that to Lightning Breath. Fierce Stance is, again, cool and all, but you'll change that for a Breath A slot. She does not have Quick Riposte. You know, all the stuff dragons really need. And Go Dragon, while it's not awful, okay? It's not awful. It's not something dragons really need. Dragon tends to live under bulk, not under damage. So, as a result, it's kind of pointless, really, when you think about it. But, again, as I said, in high merge, she can really shine. Now, if you compare her to Myrrh, though, Myrrh has a very specialized stat spread. Her speed is shit, but it doesn't matter because of Great Flame. Her Death and Rest completely destroys Kana. She has more health, she has more attack. By default, she is the best flyer. Not flyer, dragon. Green dragon. There's also Melgrima. That's obviously better than Kana. I did not even bother to put her there because... him, rather. Because it's so obvious. Bold Fighter, Steady Breath with a distant counter weapon is absolutely disgusting to deal with. And just in general, you don't really have much of a shot against that. Unless you have, obviously, Dragon Killer weapons or a pretty decent red. It's just, Grima in general is just extremely solid. Purely because it's an armored unit. So, Kana is passable, I guess. I was also expecting her to have the BST of Myrrh, because Myrrh has boosted BST up the ass. She has 167 BST, and Kana over here has 163. So, even on that, she loses to Myrrh. I don't think I have to continue. I've already drive the point home enough that Myrrh is just basically the better option. The only thing Myrrh really has as a problem is she can't use Breath, so Kana can be somewhat better because of that. Somewhat. And you have to use Iode's Shield, the Seal, to really like deal with most of her problems. Though if you're in control, you don't really need that because other dragons can deal with, you know, archers for you. So I guess that's about it. Let's move to Inoka. Inoka is a really small comparison. I suck at pronouncing this word. I wanted to compare those two because, frankly, Lyn beats Inoka completely, but not by much. More death, one less res, same speed, more attack, only by 1 point, a bit less HP. The reason why I bothered bringing those two up is because you'll build the two of them the same way. You're going to build them with Fire Sweep, Cancer Affinity, and, you know, Swift Sparrow or Life and Death 3. There's just not really much of an other way to build them, because if you go Brave Bow, okay, Lyn can use Saki's Blessing to deal with DC unit at least. Inoka is not so lucky. Inoka basically cannot deal with DC unit. If she doesn't one-shot the DC unit, she gets one-shot herself. And dragons actually destroy her just as well as they would Lyn, because they just transfer that to death. So, she's kind of worse than Lyn. She's not awful by any stretch. She's definitely the shining best unit of the banner, hands down. But it's just, she's basically a worse Brave Lyn, but flying. That's how it feels to me. Like, and not to mention, Fire Sweep is kind of hard to obtain because Faye is never on any banner whatsoever. I kind of want to see a Fire Sweep banner with like Fire Sweep lands. Well, basically like Roderick, Soleil, and Faye. Easy. You already have a team for a banner that doesn't suck. Again, Inoka is not bad by any stretch. It's just she's kind of plagued with this very awful stat spread of I have too much res but not enough def. If they basically made so that her def and res would have been both 23, she would have been better than Braveland in my opinion, because then she would have been able to tank some dragons. She would have also been able to kill some armored unit. So the fact that you have to rely on Fire Sweep at all kind of limits her build to 1. And yes, I know she has a bow that's effective against armored unit, but here's the problem. 32 attack is not enough. She ends up with 46. Say you had Life and Death, that's 51. That's 76 effective attack against armored unit. Let's say Hector, right? Base Hector. Not even gonna talk about LA Hector because no point really. Normal Hector. Essentially, pretty easily has 37 def. That's the base. So 51 attack becomes 76 attack because of effective, meaning minus 37. That's 39 damage. That does not one shot, and then Hector smash back for 35 damage. This is a unbuffed Hector. This is a Hector without anything buffing his attack, and an attack plus Hector would straight up one-shot kill Inoka. And this is like one of the simplest comparison, really, at this point. There's much worse comparison, like LA Hector just straight up one-shots in most cases, especially if, you know, they run Glimmer. You hit once, then basically smash you back for 50. Or actually more like 60 because of his axe proccing. So, yeah, pretty problematic that she has a hard time dealing with most armored unit despite having a weapon effective against armored unit. It's not a bad bow per se. I think it's like one of the better bow we've got for legendary ones, but again, Fire Sweep is just better. That tends to be the case often when it comes down to legendary bows. None of them really shines. None of them are just really like, oh, that's amazing, I can't wait to use that, you know? But, oh well, I think that's enough about Inoka. Let's talk about Shigure. And this is the comparison nobody fucking are surprised about. He's basically really good attack, really good speed, a bit better in depth than both of them. Same res as all of them. And honestly, he's so close of being good. But the problem here is, okay, this is a 5-star you have to pull. So by default, if we're comparing just stats, he's kind of comparable to Tana. The difference though is that his weapon is not legendary, so Tana can use his weapon, and Tana has a legendary weapon that lets her use a different set. So as a result, Tana is a bit more flexible of a character than Shigure. The one thing is Shigure could probably use the Fire Sweep set a bit better than Tana, because in both cases they are 5-star exclusive and most likely going to stay that way. I'm going to just compare their stat and neutral. So Shigure is definitely a bit better than Tana when it comes down to Fire Sweep. When it comes down to Vidofnir, she completely wipes the floor with him, and Brave Lance is still in Tana's favor. So Shigure is not bad, just outclassed by Tana, and when it comes down to Cordelia, it becomes even worse, because, okay, yeah, it's true, by default Shigure is kind of better when it comes down to Fire Sweep. However, there's one big problem, okay? Shigure can get fucked in IVs pretty easily. Cordelia is available at 3 and 4 star. So getting good IVs on Cordelia is way easier than on Shigure. Now if you get good IVs on Shigure, good on you. That means he can most likely outclass Cordelia outright, at least from the get-go. But Cordelia is easier to merge, has easier access to good IV, so as a result, it's kind of problematic. I'm not saying, by the way, that Shigure is bad. Shigure is good. Like, seriously, he's one of the better lance unit of this game when it comes down to offense. But that's just it. All he has is offense and no gimmick. And if we're comparing just straight up offense, Cordelia is comparable, if not better, if you consider IVs. So, yeah, like, yeah, sure, you can get IVs on Shigure, but it's easier to get fucked over by it. I'm expecting him to kind of drop to 4-star, but I don't know. I don't know. Either him or female Kana, because both of them are kind of... Inoka is obviously not gonna drop. She's the first of her kind. She's pretty strong. Just kind of overshadowed, but not by much, because she's still the first flying archer. And by default, that makes her relevant. I kind of want to pull for her purely for Michaelis, but if I'm being honest, I would not summon on this banner. Not yet. I might summon later when we know more about Golden Week, but the fact that we might get a Hero Fest on Golden Week, and said Golden Fest, what the fuck am I saying? Golden Week could have like something like Myrrh available at fucking 5% rate versus shitface Kana over here that has basically worse stats, is kind of like saying that's just bait, you know? I'm not so sure about what's gonna be the lance, sword, or bow. I'm expecting Zelgus to be the sword unit. And for the other two unit, it's pretty up in the air, really. Colorless does not have many unit that really shines. They have Eloine Jacob, they have Bravelyn, they have Elise, I guess? They have Jenny for father, and that's kind of it. Nothing really shines, and it really sucks, because you can't really guess what's gonna be on Eurofest. Elise is the only one that has not been really featured yet, so... And Jacob is kind of seasonal, so it's probably not gonna be there at all. So... yeah, I think that's enough about this banner. Let's talk about the GHB. Kinda. I've changed a bit my design when it comes down to showing unit, purely because the skills are not really known. The stats are, but the skills not. So I'd rather put them there. And honestly, Kana isn't bad at all, but he has a few problems. His stat line is a bit too balanced, way too balanced, and that's not a problem until you realize that, well, you can't really merge him. So he really struggles on that department. Not to mention, if you compare him to an attack plus Corrin, Corrin has the same attack, more speed, more def, more HP, and the only thing that she struggles in compared to Kana is res. Though, obviously, the minus would probably be something like res minus or HP minus, so she would end up having either a bigger gap in res or also being lower in HP. But since she has a super bane in HP, yikes. Though, I will say, the thing with Corrin is you can make her a 4-star plus 10. That's another thing you can do with also Naui. So, as a 4-star plus 10, if you go the res path, you can kind of like just fix her res. But at the same time, you don't have super bane at 4 stars, so Yeah. As a result, you end up having a Korin with better everything. Because it's basically a 5-star with +2 in every stat for the most part. For the most part. So, yeah. Kinda really struggles stats-wise, and that seems to be a theme in this entire review, isn't it? They all struggle. They all are so close, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, now most people already have a 5-star +10. I don't want to say most people, that's kind of wrong, but a lot of people already have a high merge Naui, so yikes, poor guy, poor fucking guy. Water Breath, which I did not mention too much on Kana, can be on Kana female, can be good on him because he comes with Brazen Death Res, and I cannot make this any clearer, but holy fuck, he comes with Brazen Death Res as a free unit. That's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. I'm actually really happy for this. It's kind of sad it's one of the worst Brazen, but it's still not bad by any stretch. It's just, I wonder which skill will be available at 4-star, and nothing of that is really available online right now. Yeah. So, outside in that, Korin basically has a better stat spread because of IVs, and because of being able to be merged more. Now he's already merged for a lot of people, and if you already have a Naui merge, kinda is not worth it. But I would still keep him, like at least one copy to use him. The other two is probably going to be Fortified Dragon Fodder, which is fantastic. I'm surprised that's available this fucking cheap. Unless both skills are like plugged behind 5-star, which I completely doubt. But unless this happens, damn, we have a good fodder unit. Which is the problem with most GHB unit. They're awful unit in battle, but they're amazing fodder. And, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but I really find that to suck ass. Because I really want to see GHB being good again. But oh well. The last free-to-play good unit we've got, in my opinion, is fucking Arvis, and it's been forever. So, the more you know. Let's talk about Kaze. Kaze gets a Barb Shuriken, which for all purposes basically Kagami Mochi, I think that's how you say that. New Year Takumi's weapon. It's a 12 might weapon with a cooldown -1 effect. Now, we don't know where he fucking comes from. So, I am very scared to see what's gonna be the case. It seems like he's gonna be a Tempest Trial unit. And if that's the case, god fucking damn it, guys. But, I feel like this unit should be available at 4 to 5-star on the summon pool. Sadly, it's probably not gonna be the case knowing IS. As usual. The reason why I said this is, we still don't have a cooldown -1 dagger in the pool. Seriously, what the fuck? So, anyway, rant aside. He's most likely going to be Tempest Trial, so I'm not going to consider his IVs at all. Because, frankly, there's no point. If he's going to be, Tempest Trial, there's no IVs, so... I'm also going to mention merges yet again. I know a lot of people are probably tired of me saying that, but what can I say? So, he's a rest tank. Again. Oh look, it's almost like Inoka's stat spread. Wow. Again. I don't know what IS's fascination for this 1828 def res or around those numbers stat spread is. I don't understand either why they still consider Res Tank to be worth a shit. Like, hello? Every banner is a fucking Res Tank. It's like they're putting more and more unit in there. This is to counter Reinhardt, because Reinhardt is still a very huge threat. And yeah, Reinhardt is still a threat. But he has like 50 million counters. Give the guy a break. Not to mention the new Reinhardt doesn't give a shit about that res. And frankly, the new Reinhardt is more threatening than the old one. Because the new one has a good enemy phase. Yay. So, talking about stats themselves, is offense HP is very similar to Halloween Sakura. So if you already have her, there's really no point. It's the same res, it's almost the same def, it's basically about the same attack and speed. So, if you already have a good IV Sakura, there's just no reason to use Kaze, and that sucks. Because I was expecting Kaze to be at least good. He's one of the few Fates character I kinda like, to some extent. And no. But the worst part is Felicia. Now, you might look at her stat and be like, well, at least Kaze has a lot more attack. Yes and no. The reason why I say this is, same HP, Felicia has more speed, more def, more res. The only difference is attack. And while this is relevant, she comes with a 14 might weapon versus Kaze's 12. So already there, that's 2 might out of the window. So it's a 5 might difference, right? Until you realize you can get attack plus on Felicia, and you can make her a 4-star plus 10, making her attack on par with Kaze, with more speed, more def, more res, and more HP. So by the get-go, she completely outclassed Kaze in stats as a 4-star plus 10 unit. And let me just add this. Felicia's Plate is way better than Barb Shuriken. Felicia's Plate allows you to target def or res, even when not refined. And that by itself is insanely useful. The reason why I say this is because even if her attack is shit, she can still target the lower of the two and basically more or less improve her damage. So, yeah, Felicia is just better as a whole. That's why I'm like really expecting him to be a Tempest Trial unit, because he's completely outclassed. When a unit is completely outclassed, that tends to be a Tempest Trial or GHB unit. Because IS cannot let us have good free-to-play unit. Yay. They like to give us like very decent unit, and that's it. And for the 2 people here that think like, well, Tempest Trial is not on the fucking roadmap. Let me just remind you, and that's something Sage just pointed out, and that is completely true, and I completely forgot that. And that's, well, guess what else did the same? New Year scoring. We were all like, where the fuck is this guy, right? Turns out that was in the Tempest Trial that was like released 2 or 3 weeks after the banner. So there's no surprise that Tempest Trial could do the same here, and we'll get him as a Tempest Trial unit. It's quite a shame, because I know a lot of people that actually like Kaze as a character, me included, and he's kind of underwhelming. His stat line is not really great, and sure, again, he follows the same trend as Kanamil, in the sense that he has good fodder, but that's it. He has a fantastic weapon for fodder, he has a fantastic C-slot for fodder, but, The problem though is that Speed Smoke is available on the Possessed Takumi, and Attack Smoke is a seal. Speed Smoke is not a seal, so unless the Tempest Trial Kaze comes in and gives Speed Smoke as a seal, Even as a fighter, he kind of sucks when it comes down to his C slot. That said, he has a really good weapon. So I think that about sums it up about all of the unit of the banner. As usual, Discord link is going to be in the description below. I'm also going to link my Twitch in the description below. I don't stream as much as I used to, but I probably will continue to stream purely because of Tempest Trial. That tends to be the main thing I actually stream, since it's actual content that doesn't last 5 minutes. But all in all, this banner is not awful. I would just suggest you not to summon yet. I'm gonna pull a strategist here and say, save your orbs, because of Golden Week. That's really all that I have to say. So, we're ready for a 30-minute review, for fuck's sake. It's even longer than my Tricky banner. Anyway, I'll see you all later, or in the comment. See ya.